Grant, why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side?
I've never heard another song about a rainbow other than Rainbow Connection, I'm pretty sure.
But I've heard Rainbow Connection a lot.
I have heard Rainbow Connection a lot. I was into that.
So it kind of balances out. You know?
It was one of the main songs I listened to through middle school. Like,
it's a heater. I mean, I
6th to 8th grade was when I started really listening to music on my phone. Rainbow Connection was there constantly.
That's a nice one. It's good vibes.
Oh, it's such good vibes.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome to Muppet Talk 3D, where me, Grant, and everyone else gets to gather together and we talk about various Muppet movies, specials, TV shows, whatever Muppet-related things we're feeling during the week.
Once we run out, we might get real flimsy with what we count as Muppet Connection.
Jim Henson related-esque things. You know, we're gonna try to keep it Muppet related, but you know, in like a couple months, we're gonna run out of stuff. If I'm being perfectly honest.
Do you know what film the Henson Creature Shop worked on in the year 2022? 2023? 23, I think.
I sure hope it's not Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
It's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, that's right! We might talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. That'd be awesome. It's very different.
I think 23.
I forgot about that.
Yep, no, that was a big deal. And you know, they're probably working on this new one, too. So that's 2 more episodes right there.
Hey, Halloween time, baby.
We got this. This can run until we die.
Yeah. Muppet Talk forever.
Yep.
Muppet Talk forever. That's the sequel. Anyways, so obviously with our first episode, we're going to be talking about the first Muppet movie. I believe it's called The Muppet Movie, which is different from The Muppets.
Yes.
Parentheses movie.
Which confuses people, I think, sometimes.
I got confused a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very excited. Before we kind of get into it, Grant, what's your kind of affiliation with the Muppets? Do you have much of a history with?
I can't remember a time I didn't know the Muppets.
Heck yeah.
They have always been consistent through my life. Every Christmas, the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I do remember vaguely a time when I was a kid that I was like, I'm going to watch all the Muppet movies.
Yeah.
I had seen some of them, and I sat and I watched all of them.
Okay. So
I don't know what age. It would have been young, though.
Sure. So you're pretty familiar with the Muppets.
Yeah, they've always been there.
Do you got a favorite Muppet?
Oh, there's a lot
of good ones.
Gonzo's very high, along with Rizzo. That duo together.
They work really well with each other.
Statler and Waldorf have always been.
They're always very fun.
High on my ranking.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Kermit.
Yeah, he's a classic.
He's so well done in his characterization, just about everything.
Yeah. I'm personally a big fan of Kermit. Yeah. I love Kermit. I love Rolf.
Rolf's good.
Yeah, he's very much, I mean, both of them are very much like, played by Henson, so a lot of his characteristics kind of got melded into their characterizations as they went on, which is very fun.
Yeah.
But they just feel very, very, I don't know, Rolf has like uncle, like grandpa vibes, if that makes sense. Not Uncle Grandpa, the character, but like, you know, like you go to your grandpa's house and you know he's playing the piano, he's making like crummy jokes. Yeah. He's very chill.
I don't think you can say the words Uncle Grandpa anymore without
Cartoon Network ruined.
It goes straight there, man.
I don't think Rolf reminds me of Uncle Grandpa. Yeah. I feel like those two are so completely polar opposites.
What Muppet reminds you the most of Uncle Grandpa?
Probably Gonzo.
Yeah. I feel like there's got to be a weirder one that like.
Who's like the most like
unpredictable, just
chaotic force? Oh, the 3D guy from Muppet Vision that you're gonna meet very soon.
Oh,
he's very Uncle Grandpa adjacent. But
I think
spoilers.
I was thinking one of the Electric Mayhem.
Oh yeah, probably like Animal maybe.
Yeah, I think if you combined all 5 of the Electric Mayhem,
like if you fuse them all together,
you might end up with something close to Uncle Grandpa.
I guess.
There's been a lot of Uncle Grandpa talk in this Muppet Talk, though.
Anyways, let's get into it. Let's talk about the Muppet movie. First, a brief history.
Great, good.
Yep. I got notes on my phone.
I'm glad there's education.
I was gonna hide this, dear audience, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I wrote down a lot of things. So
yeah. We should have put something in front here.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So, the Muppet movie, which came out in 1979, making it a pretty old film, started production during the third season of Muppets, which the Muppet Show at that time was pretty dang popular. It actually was at the height of its popularity when it ended. They decided to end it when it was still like in the cultural zeitgeist around, I think it's 5 seasons long.
That sounds right.
Originally going to be directed by Jim Henson, though because this was the first Muppet feature film, and because obviously he needed to be Kermit and be a part of other things, they decided to put the directorial role onto James Rowley instead.
Yeah.
James Rowley apparently did not like working with the Muppets very much.
Oh!
A bit of...
I didn't tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, production on this film, working with puppets, it takes a long time. It's a big pain in the butt to get things to work right. And because this is the first movie, they're working out a lot of kinks, figuring out how they should be lit, how they should contrast with human characters. Big pain in the butt. So this was the only movie in the Henson era of Muppet films not directed by someone in-house. So like Frank Oz, Jim Henson,
I knew that.
like those kinds of people.
Those later ones.
Yeah. Film had a budget of $8 million at the time and grossed $65 million in the box office, making it the highest grossing puppet-based movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I would have thought it would have been
Yeah, that one. That is actually an outdated thing because the Muppets 2011 actually grossed more money in the box office. Made more of a profit.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me in our modern era.
No, 65 million is.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, very, very much profitable, especially for the budget. But obviously now, especially when you have that big Disney brand just smack right there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, show that off.
Yeah, but still pretty good. It was also received very well critically too. So people liked the movie, made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Overall, pretty successful movie.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, the movie is like very innovative in terms of like what it brings to like puppetry and like the effects that they use to like kind of bring the scene to life. It's it's really impressive to me like how much effort is put into like very simple things. I have a lot of fun facts here. A lot of them involve special effects.
Okay. Are we gonna?
But yeah, I can rattle off some.
Do you want to rattle or do you want to save?
Yeah, okay, well, let's rattle off some fun
rattle
facts.
It off.
Fun facts, ladies and gentlemen.
Excited.
So, so the opening scene, if you'll remember, where not the opening, not the SpongeBob movie opening, where all the
yes,
but the actual like movie opening where Kermit is on the log. That apparently big pain in the ass to shoot.
I've seen the photos of him in that log. It looks horrid.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the footage, Jim Henson like crams himself into like a barrel and is submerged underwater as he like has Kermit above the water and is like doing his lines. And even though the scene is like 5-10 minutes long at most, it took days to like shoot that. Because they had multiple puppets for Kermit. One of them was, I believe, an animatronic, the one that was like strumming the guitar in some of the close shots, which means Henson's constantly getting in and out. It's big pain, and that's just the opening scene. Another fun fact. What?
I was adjusting for your fun fact.
Okay.
I was like, a fun fact. I better listen up. I better listen up.
Okay, let's try that again.
I knew the first fun fact, so hopefully I'll not know this one. Hopefully you found at least something interesting.
Damn. Fuck. Another fun fact. Do you know how they, Kermit like rides that bike through the town?
Yes.
Do you know how they did that?
Well, I assumed the bike was the animatronic, and then they pasted his feet to the bike. That was what I guessed watching the movie.
I actually also thought an animatronic was involved. Yeah. Because it looks like it, and you'd think, how the hell would they do that without it? Actually, not an animatronic. That is a puppet on a bike. What they did is they attached strings to him and had a crane off camera. Like, they had a remote with the crane, and they would adjust the puppet with the strings, like, as he rode along.
Yeah.
It was apparently also a difficult shot to do.
Yeah. That sounds harder than what you and I just said.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why
Yeah.
they went with that instead. Maybe it was just animatronics at the time were less sophisticated.
Yeah.
Is my guess. Could also just be a weight and balance issue.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's pretty.
Looks great in the film.
Yeah, it works great. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
Couldn't even tell. Like some of the behind the scenes footage, like you can kind of see the crane shadow in some of the shots, but in the movie they shot it at a time of day where you don't really see that. So it really,
filmmaking used to be so much. I would say more interesting.
Yeah.
Because you just had to be so much more creative with how you shot stuff. Because now they just paint that out.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, there's the shadow there. We'll paint that out in post. Back then, you had to really.
It was scrappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you want Kermit singing in a lake, you gotta be in the water conducting him. You can't have an animatronic or CG Kermit or CG water or anything.
God, CG. Yeah. CG Kermit. Those words make me sad.
That's artless. But yeah, I mean, there is some blue screen in the movie that is used. Like the scene at the bar where Fozzie and Kermit are dancing, I believe, is blue screen.
Which really looks great as well.
Yeah, especially for the time.
Watching Muppets dance just makes me very happy.
Yeah, no, it's very fun.
Did they use, was it blue and green screen for the giant animal coming out of the...
Fun fact.
Yeah.
No. Not blue screen and not miniatures. That is a 60-foot animal.
Did they make a giant animal?
That's a giant freaking animal head.
As I was watching it this time, I was like, oh wow, it'd be so cool if this was made today and they made a giant animal head.
Yeah.
No, they did it back then?
That is a 60-foot tall animal head.
That's so cool.
It's fully, movement obviously is limited, but it opens and closes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of pictures I found of it behind the scenes. It's freaking cool.
Yeah.
But
was that a pain? Like everything else?
Yes. I forget who the quote was accounted for. It might have been Raleigh, because but I believe the quote was 1 day per 1 minute of filming. Or 1 minute per film is 1 day of filming.
Yeah.
This is a hard movie to make. Obviously, like obviously there's like been puppets in movies for years, but this is the first one where there's a lot of puppets and they are the main like focus and draw on, and they're figuring stuff out on the fly. When you're doing like the Muppet Show, it's all sound stage, it's all studio. There's a lot of control you have over it, and it's all puppets interacting with the puppets. Obviously you have like special guest stars, but like, it's one human.
Yeah. When
you're doing it in live action, you got a lot of humans around, you got animals walking around. There's a lot more variables to account for. But yeah, I mean, it's still the fact that they're able to pull off some of these things and it looks so great, even now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, the movie holds up really well visually.
Oh, yeah.
It's stunning. Yeah, I mean, you got like Kermit and Fozzie walking around. You can see their leg like walking.
Yeah. Anytime I see a leg shot in a Muppet movie, I just think about, God, that looks so difficult. Yeah. That must have taken forever. Yeah, how did they do that? Oh, it's a big frickin' crane? Great. So you mentioned, like, watching the film and kind of thinking, like, how the heck did they do the animal head? When I was watching this film, I was wondering how they did those car scenes. Oh.
The scenes where they're in the car and, like, driving.
Yeah, because it's moving and
it's moving.
All talking.
And you get shots from the outside where it's clear, like, there's, like, Muppets in there and the car is moving.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Do you know what they did?
I remember hearing what they did, and now I'm blanking on it. So
they had a person that they had in the trunk with a little TV monitor and a remote control for the car.
Yeah.
And they controlled the car with the TV monitor as they were going. Wow. Also, the puppeteers were in the car, like hiding under, like in the seats, so like the Muppets would be up there.
Yeah.
So, in some of the later shots in the movie where you have like Piggy and Gonzo and Kermit and Rolf. Rolf requires 2 puppeteers.
Yeah.
You have like 6 people in the car and then a 7th person in the trunk.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, and you see none of it.
Yeah. Was it the best idea to have the guy in the trunk? Did it require that he was in the trunk? Is it because the camera was connected like by cords? They couldn't get like a live camera?
Yeah,
probably.
My guess is
FaceTime didn't exist.
I guess my guess is that because it was 1970s.
Yeah. That
the camera needed to be like connected to the monitor from like it had to be close. So he had to be in the trunk.
Yeah.
With a little like crammed in there with a little remote.
It's
insane.
Yeah, it's insanity.
And something they never do now.
They would never do that.
Because technology has progressed a lot.
Because technology's progressed, and there's less risk of people dying now.
There's laws about this now.
Film needs to be more fun.
Film was fun when there was risk of a guy being shoved in the trunk, potentially dying because of the Muppets movie.
What if the guy rear-ended by something? He would have been done.
You'll notice that in all the shots that there's no one else on the road.
Doc Hopper was there.
That's true. What if Doc Hopper's feel like if he really wanted to kill Kermit, he would have taken out the driver.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's basic common sense.
Yeah.
Wrapping up on the fun facts, we're pretty close. The final scene, the Rainbow Connection reprise.
Yeah.
Got this huge swath of various puppets from the Jim Henson Company, all of which were used on various Jim Henson products that are either in production or already finished production. There are 250 puppets in that shot, which is freaking nuts. And it says about, I couldn't find an exact number, but it says about 130 different people puppeting all those people.
Wow.
Yeah, which, they basically had like a 6-foot like pit. Where they had like 100 people just in there with the puppets and at ground level. It's insane.
I wonder why those puppets weren't in the whole movie.
Why they only have so many? It's weird that every scene only had like 2 or 3 Muppets in them.
Yeah, that's weird. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's fun. I don't know. I had a fun time reading about the behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's crazy how different things were done back then, especially because they're obviously kind of handicapping themselves a little bit by working with these puppets. They're committed to this Muppet movie.
Yeah.
So you got to figure it out. And
as someone who has set up their own shots and thought about filmmaking. How I want to. The entire movie, I'm just sitting like, this looks like a bitch.
Yeah. How the fuck?
Yeah.
So, the scene where Rolf and Kermit are in the bar. They sing their little duet.
Yes.
Yeah. So, obviously, Jim Henson voices both of those puppets. So, there was some ADR work where Henson records his lines as Kermit.
Yeah.
Somewhere else, he sings as Rolf while the tape's going. But Rolf requires 2 puppeteers. Typically what Jim Henson would do is he would have the mouth in the right hand and another puppeteer would have the left hand. But obviously you also need Kermit in the shot, which means Jim Henson needs 3 hands. So this is one of the few films prior to his untimely death where you can actually see Kermit being puppeteered by someone who's not Jim Henson, which is pretty cool. It's very brief, obviously. Yeah. I believe that, and then there's a couple shots in the car where Rolf and Kermit are in the same shot.
So Jim Henson always goes to Rolf when both are together? Yeah,
as far as I know, he's always puppeting Rolf, and Kermit, I believe, is puppeted by someone else in those scenes.
Yeah.
Which is cool. You typically don't see that.
No.
But that's the end of our kind of behind-the-scenes fun facts section. Now we can actually start talking about this freaking movie.
Yeah.
How about it? What did you think of the Muppets movie?
What did I think?
Yeah.
What a question. Layered question.
I know. Do you have... I guess to kind of start this off, you said you've seen this film before, right?
Many times, yes.
Do you feel has your appreciation of this film kind of increased or decreased?
Definitely. Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it.
Yeah. I had not seen this film before starting Muppet Talk. I've seen some of the Muppet movies, but not all of them. And I was blown away by how... I mean, we talked about the shots and how much of a pain in the ass they are to make. film looks great. Very funny movie.
Yeah, it's just beautiful all around. It's such a love letter to movies and storytelling and childhood and imagination and just living your life to the fullest. And and at the same time, it's these silly puppets saying the silliest thing they can think of on the day. And it's such a perfect balance. And on top of that, it's a gorgeous film. The fact that they had all these handicaps and all these things putting them back with these puppets, and they didn't stop them whatsoever from creating a film that looks beautiful. It is just an outstanding achievement.
It's a really, we talk about all these like hindrances and all these like workarounds they have to do. You can't tell watching the movie. It looks seamless, and clearly this film is very much a passion of Jim. I don't know, especially that like last scene of Kermit's last song and the little reprise of Rainbow Connection. It's clear that I interpret it as Henson kind of reflecting a lot on how big the Muppets had gotten and how much appreciation he has for people watching what he does and him being able to entertain people. It's clearly comes out of a place of absolute love for the craft and just, I don't know, there is something just like very beautiful about the passion behind this movie, the love for filmmaking, the love for puppetry. And also just, I don't know, the dialogue's very fun, It's like obviously it's scripted. I'm not going to say it feels unscripted, but the rapport between like Henson and Oz and the other actors who I'm kind of blanking on right now, but they work so well off of each other. It feels so natural, when Kermit and Fozzie are kind of riffing off each other and doing bits.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there any scenes that kind of stick out in your mind?
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
There's not a bad scene in the movie.
There's not. It's banger from beginning to end.
You could, I guess there are scenes that stick out, but every song sticks out. The music's just, it's one of the best musicals ever.
Paul Williams made all the music. It's funny because Henson had done like music before. He'd done music for the Muppet Show even, but he said he put Paul Williams in charge of all the creative decisions in terms of the music. He had no part of it. And all the songs, especially all the like vocal the songs themselves, the music generally is good, but the songs specifically are freaking bangers. I was like humming them on the way over here.
Moving Right Along is one of the catchiest.
I love Moving Right Along.
That sequence, the first iteration of it, just one of my favorite sequences in film. Again, it's a gorgeous sequence. Like I love seeing all these different. One of the most patriotic I think I've ever felt. Just seeing these landscapes. They're so gorgeous and shot so well. And then you just have these amazing jokes that perfectly are written into the music. The music enforces what the movie is. Like with other musicals you can feel the song is separate from everything else in the film. Like they wrote the song and then they're like, okay, we gotta come up with the visuals to match the song. It's very much the song is written to match what's in the movie. There's a fork in the road.
Great bit.
And then you gotta make a big fork.
No, there's not it's a lot of musicals, not a lot, but there are definitely musicals where you're watching it and it's like, okay, this is the part where they're set up for the song. Okay, now we do the song, now we move on with our lives.
This is seamless.
It's put right in there and you notice it obviously, but like you don't feel it coming on, and when it comes on it's like, oh yeah, this feels great, this is good.
And the way that every time they keep moving, that the Moving Right Along instrumental comes back in, it's a great way to structure a film. It keeps the pace moving perfectly. You know where we are now. It's great filmmaking.
There's a lot of motifs in this movie. Which is something like I'm not great at like noticing music. It's one of my kind of weak points as someone who kind of enjoys film. But I notice like moving right along, a lot of motifs in those. Rainbow Connection has a bit of motif.
Yes.
When the car breaks down. A lot of different points, and I don't know. It's so good.
When the car breaks down, that's
a good scene.
I teared up a bit watching it this time. Gonzo's such a he's a dreamer. He's such he's
such a wide-eyed little boy.
Yeah, the way that you get to view the world through Gonzo in this and in everything they put in, it's just wonderful. The line that sticks out to me in that song is, "There's no word yet for old friends you just met."
Oh yeah,
it hit me so hard, and it's just about passion.
Yeah,
and all these silly guys have passion for something that's driving them forward together, and it's so beautiful to see.
It's so good. It all builds so well. God, I love Gonzo's song. It's very heartfelt, and like. It's funny because, I've watched a bit of Muppets. I've watched more of, like, Muppets, like, TV shows. I watched the Muppet Show a little bit. They don't do, like, heartfelt stuff as much on that. So, going into this, I was a little worried about their range if they could do, like, more, like, what's the word? Sentimental scenes.
Yeah.
And they pull it off really well.
Yeah.
That like Kermit talking to himself.
Kermit talking to himself is so
it's good.
But then they add little lines in that are so funny as well.
Yeah.
I was in tears from the Gonzo song, and then they're talking about, and then Kermit's like, he's kind of a turkey, but not quite, or something. And then but not so much.
Not really.
And I cackled out loud because it's such a good line.
Oh man.
I wrote down a couple of my favorite lines, so we'll get to those later.
Yeah.
But it is an excellently. It's so funny.
Yeah. No, there's some standout jokes in this movie. It's like the Fork in the Road. That was very fun. That one's such a fun one.
It's great also just because again the music.
Yeah.
The beat is so great because of where it is in the song, like the structure of the song. It's such a great song.
Yeah.
I love that song so much.
Yeah.
The perfect road trip song. If you're on a road trip and you're not playing Moving Right Along, you're doing road trips wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little biased, but I love Rolf in the bar. I love the little duet, especially some of the little jokes he puts in.
It's good.
Like
Rolf's a great character.
Yeah, he's great. He's like you got a leash on life.
Yeah.
They're all sorry.
One of my favorite bits. It's because it's just so Muppets and music to Muppets is, "Hi, I'm Rolf. I was at the bar." Just like mentions them speaking as they're driving around.
I was at the bar. Oh, sorry. Okay. He's like mumbles to himself.
Yeah.
You never met my grandpa. Sorry, but Rolf is so much like my grandpa. I can't describe it.
Yeah.
There's something like very warm about it.
That's awesome.
But no, I love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I wanted to ask you because obviously the Muppets started the show very good. How do you feel about the human performances?
Yeah, the human performances. I think what's great is, and they did promote the film through the cameos. The one of the earlier posters just has every cameo on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just floating head. He's talking about floating head posters now. It's literally floating heads in the sky of every cameo in this.
Oh my god!
Throw it on screen. But this movie knows who its main characters are. It knows that people, whether they came to see the Muppets or not, are going to fall in love with the Muppets and want to see the Muppets. Yeah. It would be so easy to fall into the human characters. You only have like two main human characters who continue through the film.
Yeah, there's not really like a protagonist human. Yeah. I mean, there's the one guy who's like works with the main villain.
Yeah, there's I think his name's Max in the
Max. Max reoccurs.
Yeah. But
it is a Muppets movie. Yeah. It focuses on the Muppets. The Muppets are the main characters. They are the focus of the scene 90% of the time. And it's funny because obviously cameos have been intrinsic to the Muppets since the very beginning. Even like the first two pilots, Sex and Violence and the Valentine special, both had celebrity cameos. So like going into it, I knew there were going to be cameos of celebrities that I probably wasn't going to know because I don't really.
I recognized about 6 or 7.
Yeah, there were a couple I recognized. I recognized a lot less than you did, though. I'm gonna be honest.
I wanted to ask you who your favorite cameo was, and not from the perspective of knowing somebody, but like this is the funniest one. This is the best performance, and some are longer and some are shorter, and that can be unfair too. But
I don't know if this is a cameo, but I'm guessing it is.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who serves them wine?
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, yeah.
He's so... I was going to say... He gets so funny. I think he gets the most to do out of all of them. Yeah. So maybe a little unfair, but he's so funny in this.
I love that he's like wearing shorts.
He's so funny. A great choice.
The best in Idaho.
Yes. Are you Kermit the Frog?
Oh God, it's so good.
Steve Martin is my favorite in this for sure. There's some great ones. I recognize Richard Pryor. He was a great comedian back then. Mel Brooks, who did Spaceballs. And,
I recognize Mel Brooks.
He's great. Cloris Leachman, I knew. She had recently passed away in the last few years, but I'd known her work. There's still people in this who are working today.
Yeah.
The Myth.
Oh yeah.
Shows up. She's still working.
Yeah.
Orson Welles is a big one.
Yeah.
I love his scene. Get me the rich and famous contract.
Oh God.
Yeah. He's an excellent gift for that. He's so. He had like a talk show at the time, so like he had already like really built up this characterization of himself outside of his filmmaking and acting. And he just plays right into this. It's perfect.
No, it's great. His scene at the end is very good.
Yeah.
Obviously he has this like big Hollywood bigwig like kind of front, and Muppets go give their spiel. It's such a funny scene.
Yeah, because you could so easily be like, oh, we have one more challenge to face, and they don't.
No, it's like, okay, you are rich and famous now. Great.
It's very fun.
Give me the standard rich and famous contract.
Another cameo I want to mention, one of my favorites is Dom DeLuise. He's the agent at the beginning of the film.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great introduction to the human element in this film. But
yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, I want to mention him. He played Pizza the Hut in Spaceballs.
Oh, yeah.
And did you ever watch Wizards of Waverly Place? Is that something that
yes, very familiar.
His son is the dad in Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh, my God.
David DeLuise.
Oh, my God. Hell yeah.
There's a little connection there, which is fun.
That's cool.
Just like how... I mean, people talk about Nepo babies and stuff.
Sure.
Who doesn't? I kind of love a Nepo baby. It's so cool to have this connection. You go back to the Muppets and we have that connection to our childhood. It's cool.
I'm glad you like. I'm glad that resonates with you. That's good. But yeah, and he has a great scene with Kermit. That scene's very fun.
Oh yeah.
Man, Kermit. I mean, Henson, very obviously very charismatic guy, and very good at making kind of like uncle, like dad jokes.
Yeah.
But his little back and forth with DeLuise at the beginning is very, very fun, but very like it doesn't feel like it's the attention of the scene. Like Kermit's kind of doing like a little stand-up bit as he's like, "Please find me somewhere," and I love that kind of humor. It's very like nuance isn't the word. Not subtle, but
dry.
Yeah,
dry humor.
Yeah, very very dry. Just no, I like that a lot.
There's one more cameo that I think you recognized.
Oh yeah.
Can you recall the other cameo you recognized?
Who are you setting me up for?
Think about the cameos, Bert.
God.
I don't remember his name, so I gotta look it up. But see if you can remember it while I look it up.
Are you trying to get me to think of the name for you?
No, there's a cameo man.
I'm sure I know them. I can't think of them right now.
Do you remember a film called Fun and Fancy Free?
Oh. I sure do remember Fun and Fancy Free. Is the guy from Fun and Fancy Free in this movie?
though I'd seen the Muppets as a kid, here in my introduction to Edgar Bergen was Fun and Fancy Free.
Yeah.
Which is a movie I despise.
It's a movie. Also features puppets.
Which is why I think he cameoed in this.
Sure.
Because he was famous for his puppetry.
Sure, that makes sense.
He's the judge of the show that Miss Piggy wins.
Oh, yeah.
And his puppet's there.
Oh, God, he is.
Yep.
Yes,
the same guy.
I was wondering where I recognize that thing from.
Yeah, I like him more in this.
He's certainly a lot more charismatic. Granted, you don't have 3 of the damn things yelling over each other.
It doesn't work very well in Fun and Fancy Free, his thing.
No.
I'm sure he was a great performer, and I don't want to speak poorly of him. I do believe this was one of his last things. I think he passed away shortly after this.
I did read, because this film is, the credits have him dedicated to him.
Oh, so he passed away before?
I believe during production.
Okay. I'm glad he got to be a part of it.
Yeah. Apparently, he was a big influence on Jim Henson.
I'm sure he was. Yeah.
Obviously, very big puppeteer.
I knew he was famous for the puppet stuff. Even before Fun and Fancy Free, I'd heard of him, but didn't put together. But yeah, it was just it's fun to watch an old movie. And we saw it so much in that, and then watch a slightly less old movie. And it's like, hey, there's that guy.
I didn't make that connection.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. I didn't make that rainbow connection.
Whoa, there you go.
Yeah. Where do we go from here?
I have notes.
Oh, hey. What are
my first note says Rainbow Connection.
It's a good song.
I guess I thought I should talk about it.
We talked about it. I mean, you mentioned that you listen to it a lot.
I said, Kermit riding a bike brings me joy.
It does. It did not bring the film producer's joy.
Love the production design.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that for a sec. The El Sleazo Cafe.
Oh, God, yeah.
That just looks amazing in every shot. It feels lived in and loved.
Feels like a bar you stumble into, but very like
heightened.
Yeah, very very cartoonized.
Yeah,
obviously it's live action.
Yeah,
it's made of like wooden bricks.
Every set feels like that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just awesome.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so exaggerated, but doesn't feel. It feels believable.
Yeah.
It's exaggerated, but it's believable, which is crazy to say when they're like freaking talking puppets.
The production design they integrate into the church.
Yeah.
They're singing their song and everything's moving in the church.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
So cool. The costuming in the El Sleazo has no rhyme or rhythm. They have just about every type of costume in that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you got like sailors and pirates and all this different things. You got like in style for the time. You have like 50s fashion. It's funny. It's cool.
Yeah. Jack makes me sad. Do you know who Jack is?
Who's Jack?
Well, his name's not Jack. His job's Jack.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Guys, wait up!
Oh God,
I want to come with you.
What's his name?
I don't know. He never says his name.
You know his name.
I don't know.
That's an actual like Muppet that exists in real life.
Oh, I know. I don't know his name.
Is it Snookums? That's a Sesame Street character.
Yeah, you're thinking of Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus. But yeah, he's in. Oh, I shouldn't.
I'm sure he's in other stuff.
I shouldn't spoil. But he's in other projects.
Yeah. What could you not be spoiling?
But I like him a lot.
Side note, I can't wait to do next week.
Hey.
Yeah.
Can you censor?
And then the last note I have written here is, this is perfect.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really don't have any like major criticisms of the movie, or even minor criticisms. I'm trying to think about like nitpicks.
Come up with a criticism, Bert. What do you got? What's bad in this?
The scene where Fozzie gets ice cream feels kind of whatever. It's not a bad scene, but it's like a 7 out of 10 in her phone.
That was a really famous cameo.
Well, fuck me.
That's why he's there.
I look like a dummy.
I love that. I love when he hands him the ice cream and he's like, "Don't mix them up." And I just think it is
such a silly little. It is very funny. Never mind. I do like this scene. Now that we're talking about it,
it's a perfect movie because my name falls.
Yeah, I like when he's like. Like, one honey ice cream, please. Like, oh, thank you. Like, oh, that's a funny bit. That's a good bit. I like Fozzie acknowledging that he's doing a joke.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! This movie really, it's from start to finish. It is constantly just, and it's not all like comedy the whole way through, but every scene, what it's trying to do, it does it extraordinarily well.
So yeah, you mentioned it's not all comedy the way through. I was bawling at the end of this movie.
God, the last scene,
Yeah.
like when they're in the studio and they're doing the Rainbow Connection reprise,
Yes.
and Kermit has his little song about growing up and becoming someone who people watch and people care about, and finding passion in something that he didn't think could ever be successful, and now people are cheering and wanting to. It invigorates me. It makes me want to go out and make things.
It makes you want to, yeah. Oh my God.
It's so good.
As someone who wants to be a filmmaker, this is the most inspiring, get up and do it movies I've ever watched.
Yeah, no, that last scene really
I wanted to read
hits me like a truck.
Yeah, I wanted to read the very last stanza of that song, the outro.
Yeah, of course.
Life's like a movie, write your own ending, keep believing, keep pretending. We've done just what we've set out to do, thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and you. And it just fucking rocked me.
Beautiful. Oh man, it's crazy. No, and this is like the height of not even the height, because after this they kept doing the Muppet Show and it kept getting popular.
Yeah.
But this is like right in the middle of like Muppet Mania.
Yeah.
Of like, Henson is one of the most like famous people on television. It's crazy, and just all that passion and that dedication and the love for the craft, all of it shows through.
Yeah.
It's, man, yeah, no. I love this movie. This might be a new favorite of mine.
Yeah.
At least up there. I mean, recency bias, obviously. I don't know where it ranks, so I'm gonna give it a number.
Yeah.
But like, man, I freaking love this movie.
Yeah. Someday I will make a ranking of my like top 100 movies. I'll be like, this will be very high on that ranking. It's the best.
Man. Yeah. Well, any final thoughts? Do we even need to give this a score? I feel like we've made our thoughts pretty clear.
We could try to give a score now to score stuff later, I guess.
Maybe. How about on like a S through F?
God.
We'll have...
Oh, God.
Well, no, because we're going to do a lot more Muppet material.
Oh, God.
So we want to have, like, a ranking.
I've never done an S through F ranking of anything.
Yeah, so, I don't know, because I want to... As we go, I want our list to grow and compare all the Muppet media and how we feel about it.
It's S, and then it just does the A, B, C, D, F?
Yeah.
Do we skip E, like usual?
If you want.
So if I really feel something needs an E?
If you feel the distinction between D and F is too wide... Yeah. We can put an E.
Is there something?
Really feel like it.
So S is above A, which is already kind of different from grading. Is there something below F to match the S?
F is bottom. F is like 0. So like A is like a 9. Okay. S is like a 10.
Okay, gotcha.
B, C, D, F.
That's fine. We can do that. We can rate it that way. I wonder what we're gonna rate it.
I give it a B. What about you, Grant?
It's pretty good.
It's all right. S. It's obviously S.
I'll give it an S.
It's an S, and I think it's going to remain at the top of our Muppet tier list, if we want to call it that.
Yeah.
For a good while. I mean, I'm personally very partial to our next project that we're looking at, but
I have one in mind that
perhaps rivals. Who's to say?
I don't know what it is, but this is a perfect movie that can't be topped. But maybe something topped it. Yeah. Maybe they did a miracle.
Yeah. Maybe they put lightning in the bottle twice. Yeah. Which, honestly, given how good this movie is, does not surprise me.
The only thing I have left is my two favorite lines from the film.
Closing thoughts?
Yeah. A bear in his natural habitat, a Studebaker.
That's a good line.
And I can't do it justice. It's also a great reading of that line.
A bear in his natural or is it Fozzie who says that?
It's Fozzie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
A bear in his natural habitat.
A Studebaker.
It's very good. And then this is also a Fonzie. Yeah,
Fozzie's good in this movie.
Got two bangers. When Gonzo's talking about, he's like, Oh, my dream was to go to India and be a pop star in this random place, and then Fozzie's like, you don't go there, you go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And Gonzo's like, if you want to do it the easy way, and then Fozzie says, we picked up a weirdo.
That's
The weirdo line just killed me. I laughed at that very loud for like a good 10 seconds.
What an asshole. Why did Fozzie say that? He's right there. He can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Of all the people in their group, Gonzo's the weirdo.
Yeah. God, there's so many good lines.
Yeah. Oh, I could write down 100.
I could rattle off lines all night.
But those were my favorites of the movie. It's such a good movie.
Man. No, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have any lines I want to recite. Boy.
We recited a couple already.
Yeah, no, the scene with the Idaho really got me. Really the best wine, 95 cents can buy you.
It's so funny. Steve Martin's so good in this.
Yeah, no. Obviously we talked about Rolf. But yeah, no, I S tier for me, S tier for you.
Yeah. It feels like we talk about parody movies and those got really popular in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It feels like the precursor.
Yeah, it feels like it is a parody of like a road trip movie, pretty much.
When the Electric Mayhem used the screenplay multiple times.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we read desert, exterior, night. We knew exactly where to find you. It's so good.
It's very good.
Was Spaceballs before this?
I thought Spaceballs was 80s.
Might be 80s.
Let me check.
Because like New Hope was like 74, 75 maybe.
Yeah, 75 is New Hope, but I thought Spaceballs was... How is... 87.
Oh, yeah, so much later.
Much later.
And they do very similar, like...
Yeah. But Young Frankenstein predates this.
That makes sense.
So which of course, perfect to throw Mel Brooks in this. So,
yeah.
It just feels like there was real thought put into who's included in this, which doesn't always feel the case with cameos in movies.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like the people who were picked to be in this, they really were like, these are people who are going to heighten what we're making here, who are going to get it beyond the level of working with Muppet.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, people, I mean, every cameo, every human actor in this movie feels like they're taking it as seriously or unseriously as the scene calls them to do. There's no one in this movie who feels like they're, like, who feels entitled, who's like, I'm working with Muppets, I'm not going to try that hard. Everyone's putting in their A game. And, like, the Muppets obviously very much tied in with special guests as kind of part of their brand. Mm-hmm. So it's easy when you're like, well, we need X amount of celebrities in our movie to kind of fill in the ranks with people who you don't really think about too much. But this really feels like like you said, everyone's thoughtful, everyone who shows up really puts on a show, really performs. It works really well. And it highlights the Muppets and it highlights them. Yeah. Well, I think I've said my piece. Do you have any?
All my pieces are on the table.
Yeah, all the pieces are here for you to see laid bare. So yeah, that'll wrap it up for this week of Muppet Talk. Next week we will be doing a little bit of not international, interstate travel, to check out a very special production done by Jim Henson, which you'll find out next week. But
I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it. I said I'd bleep it.
You motherfucker.
It's gonna be bleep.
A mystery project that no one could possibly know of. It's definitely not timely or having anything to do with it potentially being lost to the sands of time for arbitrary reasons of corporate executives.
Like Consoli, they're cool, I guess, true. Right?
Mike and Sully are pretty cool. Maybe they'll make them Muppets.
That'd be cool.
That'd be neat.
That would be a good compromise.
You get Sully, or you get Monsters Vision 3D.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, enough nonsense out of the way. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. If you are a Muppet manic like us, please comment down below. Tell us what Muppet project you'd like us to talk about next, as long as it's not... God damn it! Cut.
I mean, we're not really. Why would they tell us what they? We've already planned like the next 20 episodes.
I'm trying to get engagement, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. No one's going to comment, Grant.
Okay. Comment what you'd like us to do next. We will not be listening.
But that's not true.
But do comment. Yeah.
We're going to run out of ideas really quick.
I named Five Nights at Freddy's. Like,
yeah.
If we do Five Nights at Freddy's, we can do pretty much anything.
Yeah.
We can do every Star Wars.
If you want us to watch Kermit's Swamp Ears, we can do that. If you want us to watch the special features on all the Muppet movies and rank them, we'll do that.
One by one.
If you want us to smash or pass all the directors of